Hi everyone, welcome to Casual Watch Talk, a Sunday social. Thanks everyone for the very nice response to last week's. I did a solo live stream and I was talking about pausing the reviews on the channel. I got a lot of nice comments and a lot of outpouring of love for the Sunday social. So that is one that we'll definitely keep going. But we're joined by the panel today to talk summer watches. But we'll kick off. Pete, what are you wearing?
Speaking of summer, I am wearing the Thrifty Fathoms yellow and black one. Don't ask me which one it is, but that one.
Very nice. Very nice. Mark, what are you wearing?
I have the Christopher Ward C7 Apex. I think it's been shown on here before with the Epic caseback.
Very nice. And then I will go with, I am also wearing a Christopher Ward. I'm wearing the Dragonfly GMT on the old Consort bracelet. I've been wearing this all week. I absolutely love it. May contain product placement. So we're talking about summer watches. So we've got a couple of picks, but we're going to start off discussing, I guess, what is a summer watch, if there is such a thing. Then we want to hear your picks for summer watches or what you're wearing this summer. And then I guess we'll also have to talk about watch straps. What's gentlemanly to wear on a summer's day for a watch? But should we kick it off? What makes a summer watch? Is there such a thing?
No.
Right. Thank you for joining, everyone. We'll see you next week on.
Yes, there is, but not everywhere, if that makes sense. In fact, you're in Miami, so it would be interesting your take on this.
Orlando, I am. But...
Orlando. I don't know, Florida. Had one, I had them all. It's seasons in Australia. Yeah, I mean, it's the depths of winter here, and it got really cold, like 13 degrees Celsius. Exactly. So I mean, what does summer mean? What does summer versus winter mean in a place like this? We in Australia sit down and watch you in the north talk about your summer watches and your autumn fashions and just shrug and go, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, all far off, to be fair. We have, I suppose we have more of a rainy season, which is our summer.
I mean, I expect to get flack from the comments for this, but being in New Jersey, we have 4 seasons. All of them are horrible. I had to laugh when Peter said it was cold and it was 13 Celsius. Cold to me is minus 17 Celsius.
I am very aware of the privilege in that statement.
But then, so how hot do your summers get?
Oh, well, Melbourne's not too bad. So we'll top out at, say, 42, 43.
Okay.
We had a week a little while ago where the entire week was over 40. So that's, like climate change is killing us at that end. We've had, so routinely 33, 35 plus over summer.
Whereas here, anything above 35 is getting towards heat wave territory.
Yeah.
But, being in the low 30s is common.
Yeah, we're on 34 today or 94 degrees in freedom units. So then that's regular. That's been like that for most of the summer, and although the humidity here is very impressive.
I mean, the village in the UK where I grew up, a couple of Fridays ago, it made the national news for being 35 Celsius.
Yeah,
the Brits can't cope with that. Please.
Yeah, and the other point is, to be fair to Brits, which is something that pains me to do, but to be fair, your houses aren't really built for nothing is really built for being hot.
Yeah.
So it is. I mean, I remember I was doing a cycling holiday in Germany and they were having a heat wave and it was the low 30s or something. And my God, it was awful because they're just not built for it.
Yeah, the houses don't have. I've never lived in a UK house that had air conditioning. They all have radiators for the heat, but never air conditioning.
Mm.
The electric, the electric fans that you buy are useless, really.
You're breaking up, Sam.
Sorry. Am I back? No.
Yep.
So I suppose going back to the hypothetical question, if indeed there was such a thing as a summer watch, what would its characteristics be?
I was browsing through Fratello. Fratello have had a series of articles of top 5 summer watch picks. Nothing really consistent, but it seems to be summer watches are brightly coloured.
In fact, I was scanning through the new releases on when we started talking about this, and I came up to exactly the same thought. Not so much scanning at what have other people labeled as summer watches, but with my head ticking over, okay, like just grab and highlight the summer watches. The defining characteristics were they were pretty much all ceramic or ceramic, plastic, or some sort of DVC coating, and they were all on rubber straps, and they were all colourful. So there you go. That's my summer watch. Colourful, not metallic, and on some kind of rubber strap.
And the most popular colours were something like teal, yellow, orange.
Yeah, here's the teal one I picked.
There was a preponderance of dive watches, but that just might be the websites I look at.
Yeah. Yeah, so I went for the, if you want an example to drag up, I went for the Hublot Big Bang Unico Summer 2025. Hint, they've actually put
in the title.
They put it in the title, but to me it's kind of
a
distillation of the summer watch.
Oh, here we go. Wow.
If you're going to have a summer watch, that's what I want you wearing.
This is quite the experience. Okay. Wow. Yeah. How much is that? I bet you that's eye-wateringly expensive.
It's funny actually. What do you call eye-watering? And now I'm going to guess that's US dollars.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, so it's 35 US, I assume.
Yeah, 31,300.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I won't call that eye-wateringly expensive, but it's more than I want to spend.
It's more than I want to spend on it, but it's a summer watch. I'm overtaken by the heat. I'm delirious. I haven't been drinking enough water. That's what I'm buying.
That's pretty summary. I wonder what Fairer would offer as a summer watch. Fairer Universal.
Yeah, let's have a look at Fairer.
They're known for colour, but I suspect their colour palette changes in the summer.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Or the other option I would basically say is Doxa. Anyone, pick a one. Just reach into a random box of Doxa watches and drag out a summer watch.
And that's in keeping with the orange and the yellow, certainly.
Exactly.
And Seiko do a lot of, you might call, brightly coloured watches too.
Yeah, and funny, we've got someone here talking about absolutely not on a leather strap. And it's funny because, again, this is one of those weird things where in Australia, I wear a watch on a summer strap all the time, on a leather strap all the time. I don't get a lot of this whole idea of if it's over a certain temperature, you can't wear leather. I don't understand or feel that. But
I think it's the sweat, isn't it? People feel a bit gross about the arm sweating.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't. And once again, this could be the rise of just universal air conditioning in hot places. It's just like I don't. And it's kind of like the whole, and my wrist swells and contracts. Like, what are you doing to make that happen?
I I definitely have that. In the heat when it's humid, my wrist definitely swells. Like
Yeah,
sometimes,
mine doesn't at all.
yeah.
I've
Well, maybe you just got such big wrists, Pete, that it doesn't show.
Yeah, maybe my wrists have got to the point of saying, hey, 20 centimeters. Look, there's no point getting any bigger. This is just silly.
I do find if I when I go out doing the motor racing photography and stuff, and I'm out all day, I'm using a lot of sunscreen, and sunscreen is the absolute enemy of a leather strap.
That is true. Yeah, that is absolutely true.
It was a mistake I made once, and it took me years to get that strap wearable again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do. I don't have a watch that I regularly wear on a leather strap. Since I've moved to Florida, like I would wear leather straps, I think in the UK quite a lot, but I haven't really got one that I'll swap a leather strap if I'm going out maybe somewhere, but not in the day. I don't wear a watch that has a leather strap on it.
Yeah, I got a couple on leather. I like being able to quickly change watch straps pretty quickly, and it's a weird thing. Leather straps don't seem to come with a lot of quick release tabs, so I end up with a lot of fabric, sailcloth, rubber, and NATOs because you can just change them really fast.
I mean,
Yeah,
I tend to not wear straps as much as I wear bracelets, but I just keep on rotating the watches. So, if I was wearing the C7 Apex and I was going to go out doing photography for a day, I change the watch for a day because I'm not ruining this strap.
Yeah. I never change a bracelet. Oh, sorry, I don't wear bracelets. I never change a strap because of something I'm doing. It's really just, time for a change day. I wear a different watch every day anyway, so that's kind of by the by.
yeah. I think in summer I definitely prefer bracelets. I would say, although yes, I think when it's really hot, I definitely prefer bracelets. But I really like my wrist. Definitely does swell. Like this is quite. I mean, I'm not. This is quite loose on me now, but I mean, this does have like a quick release sort of. But I definitely have noticed when I've got one that doesn't have a quick release, I'll notice it like really straining my wrist because I don't like my watches flopping around anyway, so I wear them sort of semi tightish anyway. But
I think that's a really interesting topic about the fashion of how to wear a bracelet. It's weird how people haven't picked up that is a fashion trend. That wearing skinny bracelets like skinny jeans is a new trend that has required the invention of micro adjust. If you went back in time 10 years, the advice on properly sizing a bracelet was with the watch on your head, with the watch head on the top of your wrist and the watch dangling down, you should be able to get a finger between the bracelet and your wrist. That's how they sized bracelets. That would be regarded as a baggy fit these days. These days it's all very snug.
well, a lot of bracelets sort of, I remember, I don't know if this was a UK thing, but certainly like a lot of the vintage Timex, they had those like Speedle or Spidle ones anyway that were like elasticated bracelets, weren't they? Sort of mechanically elasticated that you would wear tight. So,
My father wore those Spidell bracelet straps for years. I always found them uncomfortable.
they still make
So
them.
Mark's onto something here. There is actually such a thing as metallic strap, or what was he talking about? Metallic band? Was it Mark from Long Island talking about?
Because he confused the two, didn't he, for a while?
No, I don't think you confuse the two. I think that's actually now what people wear. They don't wear bracelets. They wear metallic straps. They like to wear their bracelet fitted as if it was a strap.
And for me,
not loose like a bracelet.
I tend to wear my bracelets slightly loose because I just don't like because I quite often wear heavy watches. I don't want 235 grams of Seamaster zipping up and down my wrist too much. It just causes injuries.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. I like it to be tight-ish. So it does help that it's micro adjust because I will let it out. I mean, this kind of consort, it's weird because it's kind of pops on its own, which is
Well, that's the friction.
it's a friction
part of
one,
it, isn't it?
yeah.
Which, yeah.
Yeah, it's a butterfly, but it does have like a friction kind of. This is a
expansion.
Expansion there on either side.
Does it, like, when it does that, it shows you that it's got an open area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like here, it's
Yeah,
open
I
there,
get
and
it.
then if you push it, I don't actually know if I like it that much, or prefer it over
How,
a clasp.
I suppose the huge advantage that you could get from that would be that the actual clasp area becomes quite thin. So,
Yeah.
like, I can't wear. I do have one or two watches that came on bracelets with micro adjust, which I ended up having to take off. They're now on some kind of strap because the clasp is so big. I can't, like, work at a computer while I'm wearing it. It rests on the.
Oh yeah.
It's really uncomfortable. And so I don't like the idea of when I'm working on a computer, I have to take my watch off, which I do with any kind of watch that's got a big micro adjust built into the clasp.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and typically micro adjusts do make the clasps
Fat.
long. Yeah,
Fat.
yeah.
Long I can deal with, fat I can't.
Yeah, I think long, like Jack Mason does a nice long but thin one. Christopher Ward's is kind of in between, isn't it? Because it does have a push button.
It's kind of about average, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I do. I suppose I'm wearing more bracelets now, but I do wear a rubber. I'm glad that the Tropic strap came back in fashion. I know it's like old news now. Or they can't call it Tropic anymore, can they? They call it.
You
what's
can,
Mark
they
call
can't.
it? Yes, yeah. They call it like they say vintage, don't they, or something?
Yeah,
Vintage
something like
fiber.
that. But yeah, it's like the whole NATO strap thing. I've got like I'm not using a trademark. I'm not selling something, so I can call it whatever the hell I
Yeah.
want. And I think we should all embrace that. If we want to call the 5-link Tudor bracelet a Jubilee, we can. We're not selling it. We're not infringing someone's trademark.
Yeah. Oh, I found it. Uncle Seiko or Uncle Straps, who's I guess was largely credited with bringing back the Tropic, is now calling it the Pacific, the South Pacific.
Yeah, I do love a good rubber strap.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I like rubber straps as well, but I think I'm more picky with rubber straps, like how they wear, than I think I am with bracelets, because sometimes I don't know. So,
Here's an interesting question, and bringing us back to the idea of summer.
yeah,
Once upon a time, again, this is my take on the idea of how fashions have changed. Once upon a time, a bracelet was seen as like a more casual option. It kind of relaxed a watch. But I can't help but feel that in 2025, it's become more, it formalizes a watch, it elevates a watch. Since bracelets have become kind of more jewelry-like, and we worry more about how they look and how they wear and how they fit and blah, blah, blah. If I see someone wearing a watch on a bracelet, it feels quite dress. It feels quite formal.
But
I would agree with that.
if you look at what you might call traditional dress watches, they're always on a leather strap.
Yeah. But it's not when it's like people that talk about Muhammad Ali could wear a Cartier. He could in 1965, and it's not 1965 anymore. In 2025, I mean, what even is a dress watch? I'd say a dressy watch on a fancy bracelet is a dress watch in 2025.
Well, that was, I think, the big change is that certain dive watches became almost dress dive. They, the multifunctional nature of the watch changed.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the Submariner.
Yeah, I think the Submariner sort of like opened the door to the idea that, even now, say an Omega Seamaster with a shiny wave dial and a really shiny ceramic bezel with that quite dressy 5-ish link bracelet thing that Omega does. Yeah, that's a dress watch in 2025.
Yeah. I would actually agree with that. I mean, this Christopher Ward with the Consort is a very dressy version of their ordinary watch, isn't it? I think I agree. Like even the Tag Aqua Racer, I think on the bracelet is quite, it's quite an elegant bracelet, even though it's it's got like a full. Yeah, I think it's quite an elegant. Oh, it's not a full one of it, is there? Oh, there we go. No. But yeah, I think it's quite a classy bracelet for a watch because I actually saw somebody wear this at a show this week, the green one.
Yeah.
As a.
Yeah, so so it is interesting in a world where maybe that's why the summer watch like becomes like that Hublot or something really outlandish, because what would have been a summer watch back in the 1970s, 1980s is today just run of the mill. That's what you wear to work every day. So if you're going to mark summer, you've got to go outlandish and have a powder blue ceramic case with a lime green dial or something.
Yeah. I think one of my picks, I think, is the for a summer watch, not as quite as expensive as the Hublot, but the Bolivar. These aren't ceramic, are they? They're plastic, I think, or whatever whatever they're calling it. But yeah, I mean, that's like a super summer watch, isn't it? Teal with a purple strap.
It is very summery. I don't know if I like teal and purple, but no, they're clearly going for summer.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's also this, and this is where I was heading as well. I can't help but feel that summer watch is increasingly also not metallic. It is, even if it is a metal, we've PVC coated it so it looks like it's not, or but better off we've made it from something ceramic or something plastic or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let's see what the comments say. So Thomas says Synchron, who owns Isofrane and Tropic straps, have had them selling for quite a few years. The orange Isofrane strap is a great breathable. Oh yeah, so he's just So it's Synchron, isn't it, that own the name Tropic, and then Pete. So Jeremy says, Pete, that's how my wife views bracelets on a watch. He's mystified that people spend big money on watches without a bracelet. That's interesting.
Yeah, see, I've kept a little spreadsheet. I don't keep spreadsheets very often, but the one I have kept is how much money have I saved ignoring the advice of always buy the watch on the bracelet, and I've just cracked over 10K.
Okay.
Because I don't wear them, and so by buying if I had have taken that advice, I'd have $10,000 worth of bracelets sitting in boxes under a bed in my upstairs bedroom.
Oh, that's interesting, because I think if I'm buying an expensive watch, I think I should get it on the bracelet. Like, even though my Braemon, I think I would prefer it on the rubber strap.
Exactly. How brainwashed is that? I should spend more money than I need because I should spend more money than I need.
Yeah, I mean that Tag Aqua Racer, which I still love. I think if I'm gonna buy another, I'm having a little bit of a break from luxury watches, but if I was gonna buy another luxury watch or came in some money to buy one, I would buy it on the bracelet, even though I actually quite like it on the rubber because
That's
it
an
does.
interest. That's an interesting question. And it's different in the Northern Hemisphere because summer is for you. Oh, no, I suppose summer for us is a holiday too. But is summer a time when you buy a new watch?
I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but I mean, it's not for me. I buy a watch because I see one I like and I've got the money. I'm not particularly
Yeah, I
tied to
mean,
seasons.
we are probably the wrong audience for that
Yeah.
question.
Oh, yeah. We're definitely the wrong people for that.
But I mean, it does strike me as funny as like the idea of buying a watch for a season. I'm exactly the same as you, Mark. I have a laundry list of watches I want to buy, and what determines the timing is bank balance. But the fact that people sell watches labeled as summer watches and clearly configured to be a summer watch means that they are clearly thinking this is a time that people are going to spend money on a watch.
It certainly strongly implies it, doesn't it? I mean, I wonder if that's price limited, so that for less than a certain sum of money,
Or is it, does it,
you might pick up something because you want something bright and colourful that you don't care that if you lose in a swimming pool.
could be, but then because it's ski season down here, one of my mates just went skiing and was staying in the snow, so shouting himself, wandered into one of those ski shops in the resort, and there they're selling $2,000 or $3,000 like ski jackets. And he asked the woman in there, like, do people buy these things? And she said, you would be shocked. Yes, people do. So maybe because they're on holiday, they're spending $10,000 in the week staying in the snow anyway at the ridiculous prices for that accommodation in Australia. It was $400 each for the lift ticket. So you're in that mode. So maybe you'd be thinking, if I would normally spend $500 on a really good ski jacket, what the hey, I'm here on a holiday, I'm having a splurge. Yeah, I will spend $2,000 on this one. Maybe that's where the Hublot gets sold. That person who says, you know, it's too expensive. I wouldn't normally buy it. But what the hey, I'm on summer holidays, I'm in Italy, I'm doing this thing. I'm in splurge mode.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, the last cruise that we went on, it was a Disney cruise, and they had Bulgari, I should say, store on the ship,
Yeah.
on a Disney ship, and they had the Finissimo, quite a few of them actually, even the complicated ones for sale there. Oh, of course they had Hublot as well. I wonder how many Hublots are sold on cruise ships because the Hublot AD here in the Mall Millennia, it's right by the food court. So whenever I'm, getting hungry and I'm going to get a burrito or whatever, you have to walk past it. And I don't think I've seen a single person in it. Like the entire, 3 years that I've been going there, I don't think I've ever seen like a customer in there.
That sounds like the Panerai store in my local high-end mall. Never seen a customer in it except me, and I haven't bought anything.
They've expanded the Panerai. They've just made the Panerai store in that Mall of Millennia. It's opposite Starbucks, so you have to walk past it. They've just made that bigger. They've expanded it, which I thought that's pretty wild, really, to me. So there must be some a lot more Panerais.
Yeah, I don't get. We're kind of similar. I think one of the issues would also be though in moving to a boutique model, like in our watch shopping area, there's a bunch of boutiques that have just opened up. So there's an IWC boutique and a Panerai boutique, and they're run by, I believe those two are not run by Richemont centrally. They're run by one of the local, like I think they might be run by Watches of Switzerland or something, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's them here.
and you don't see many people at them. It's sort of akin to your stories. But then on the other hand, if you threw it around and said, well, they've really just come out of a multi-brand store, and the multi-brand store probably didn't have that many people in it ever at any particular desk. So what you've done is really just taken one desk out and put it there. You can't be thinking, I'm going to see people in that store like I would see people in the other store. Rather, I'm going to see people in that store like I saw them at that one desk in that store of potentially
Yeah,
20 desks.
I suppose that's a good point. I suppose that's a
But you,
good point. And maybe they only need to make one sale a month to hit quota
And
versus, you know, if you're
and I think
selling.
a lot of it comes under the heading of a lot of those ADs have like marketing, they have like a marketing function as well. Um, I've lost track of the number of like events that have been held at ADs and stuff like that.
Mm.
So I think they have other intrinsic uses.
Yeah, they're like a gallery sort of model.
Yeah.
Eric,
and there must be a customer base for vacation watches, because if you go to the Caribbean islands, for example, thinking of the Turks and Caicos, which isn't necessarily the most popular one, there's 3 or 4 fairly large multi-brand stores around.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah. So I think
I was guilty. I bought a watch, but it was a $200 Citizen, not a $10,000.
yeah. I mean, I bought that Bremont on a cruise ship because you usually can get a sneaky deal. Yeah, Eric's saying that he's seen a bunch of Hublots sold on cruises, and he said, yeah, Invicta's also. Yeah, Invicta is like on the like Royal Caribbean and stuff like that cruises. They really and Citizen actually on those ships, they really hammer the Citizen watches. But the local the Panerai expanded, but the local Invicta AD that was at the outlet mall near me, and I've sent some in our group chat, like the buy 3 and get 6 free or whatever that they used to have. It's shut down. They've shut it down. So
that doesn't surprise me at all. I think that in these times, which has a different character no matter where you are in the world. But no matter where you are in the world, if I say these times, everyone knows what I mean.
yeah,
In these times, the people that are doing that, I think the people that are doing it the hardest, the people that are struggling and are having the most uncertainty, even if they're not struggling, are Invicta buyers, are the kinds of people who are in that demographic. So I think that's I'm utterly unsurprised that's a brand that's really going to suffer.
yeah. I would say I was in that category as well. So if anybody comes at us saying we're besmirching Invicta buyers, I'm probably in that that uncertainty category as well. But yeah, or is it that they've just gone out of fashion? I mean, I still think the Invicta Pro Diver is one of the best watches you can buy, but the other like really gaudy ones, I don't know whether.
Were
Because
they
you'd have
ever
to have like a
in
new
fashion?
generation, wouldn't you, that loved them?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and when I said Invicta buyers, it's not just like there's something about those Invictas. I think they sold to a very specific group of people. And maybe that demographic's just moved on.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like you say, there's a very distinct look.
Yeah, it was definitely, yeah, it was people who were like very sort of ostentatious with, like, the Invicta was part of the overall look, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than, yeah, and whether that just the fashion of that has changed, and therefore Invicta. I'd be interested to know that. Actually, I've never really thought about this. That in fact, I think 2 Invicta stores here I've noticed have closed. So I wonder whether they're having a restructure or.
That's an interesting question. What is the most desolate store you've ever, like what store have you just never ever seen anyone in? For me in Melbourne, it's Frank Mueller. We have a Frank Mueller.
Oh.
And I love going in there because the ambience and everything is like the Hotel Continental from John Wick. You feel like I feel like I should only buy a Frank Mueller in gold coin.
Yeah, yes. Wow. Do you know what? There was when I lived in Southern California, there was a Lang and Son showroom, but that would you see people in there? They used to do an amazing Christmas display where they had like a
Yeah.
6 foot tall Zyworks, I think it was, or something. But yeah, I wouldn't ever see anybody in there. You do see more people in. You definitely see more people in the multi-watch stores, don't you? And because there's usually jewelry as well, isn't there? So it sort of gives you license if you're with your wife to be like, oh, there's also jewelry in here with the watches, so we can.
And I think also it tones down the intimidation factor a little bit. Like just the nature of a multi-brand store tends to be a little bit more approachable. Whereas if you're walking into a store and it sells Panerai and that's all it does, you kind of feel like, I should be thinking I'm going to buy a Panerai before I even step inside.
I totally agree with you. Yeah, when I went into the most desolate store, actually, there's a Braemont in Manchester, and I went in there. In fact, the door was locked, so I kind of knocked on the door, and it was open, but they locked the door.
Yeah.
So I went in there, but I wouldn't. I went in there to ask about the rubber strap for my Braemont. I probably wouldn't have just moseyed on in there just to see, just to see what was going on.
Yeah, it's funny actually. We've got a Bremont store, which is weird. How do they have retail stores in a place like Melbourne? We've got a Bremont store near us, and it's one of the more approachable boutiques. They've got all their aircraft stuff in there and stuff like that. So you see people wander in just to have a look at the ejection seat and have a chat.
Yeah, I think that's good when they've got other stuff in there. Like the Watches of Watches of Switzerland or something? There's got like a bar in it, the one in New York, so you can go in and it's like a coffee bar and stuff like that. And the same with the Tudor in the South Coast Plaza Mall where that Lang & Son is. I think that's got a coffee bar in it.
Yeah, well, there's in the Breitling one in Melbourne, they've got like a coffee bar downstairs, and then there's like you go upstairs and there's basically a clubhouse. There's a pool table, some dining tables, a bar, and they've got events in there every couple of days.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a Breitling mandate, but the Breitling store in the Millennium, they're all in like short sleeve shirts. They're like in sort of Hawaiian style shirts. It must be a uniform. They're not in suits. They're more certainly more summer casual.
Yeah, certainly the staff around us in the Breitling stores are not wearing. I wouldn't say it's a uniform, but it's clearly brand specific. I mean, Breitling are going with this whole accessible, casual, easy living, style, and that's clearly what they've told the staff to wear. So
I don't think that memo reached the Breitling store that I would go past fairly often. They're more in business casual. They're not, sort of shop person.
Yeah, so
style.
so I wouldn't go so far as to say Hawaiian shorts and t-shirts or anything like that, but it's definitely casualed up.
Yeah, and this one,
chinos and open collar shirts and stuff.
Yeah, this is exactly that. It's got like exposed brick and like neon signs and stuff like that. Although the Breitling in Manchester, they were wearing suits, but they were like really welcoming. That's the most friendly watch store I've been in, is the one in Manchester, Breitling.
Yeah, that does seem to be the edict on their boutiques, to be casual, to be welcoming, to be somewhere that people feel comfortable just hanging out.
Yeah. I wonder whether other brands will do that, because I think every other watch store. Yeah, I think every other watch store in that mall, they're in the shirt, suit and tie.
Yeah, so I mean that fits with just what they've been selling for the brand. That is what's their thing: accessible, sustainable, casual. is their kind of 3 words. But-
Yeah, I do see a lot of. I was at a trade show this week in Tampa, and there was some really cool watches. I saw a Breitling, like a chronograph, but like an Avenger chronograph, I think. And then saw the guy with that Tag Heuer, the Aqua Racer, and then a guy in the booth next to me had a Speedmaster. So, but what was funny was, I don't know if he didn't actually ask. I told him, oh, I've got a YouTube channel, but he wasn't. I don't think he was like a watch guy. I think he genuinely he saw it. I think it might have been on a cruise ship, actually. He saw it and just really loved the Speedmaster, which.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is weird. I think because we're sort of conditioned to think, oh, like if you've got a Speedmaster, you'd really know watches.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a Speedmaster does have. I would have thought a Speedy does fall into that category of a popular watch that gets respect anyway, as opposed to, clearly an enthusiast only watch.
Yeah,
Which is an interesting question. I mean, what constitutes an enthusiast only watch? When you see someone wearing that watch, you go, you're in the hobby.
do you know what I think? I don't know if you agree with this, but I assume the thing that twigs me to think this person likes watches is actually if they've got a NATO strap.
Yeah, that is a bit of a giveaway. But yeah, it's funny this whole idea of what is an enthusiast watch versus what is not an enthusiast watch. What's an enthusiast brand versus what is not an enthusiast brand is kind of I don't. In my more cynical moments, it just comes down to an enthusiast brand is a brand that panders to enthusiast watch media.
I like that definition.
I think most people get, and I'll probably throw myself in here, except when I'm feeling like doing some work. We only know a watch even exists because someone spoke about it.
Yeah.
You don't know a watch exists because you're scanning the press releases of brands that you don't even really pay attention to. You're hoping that you, Sam, or me, or Watch Gringer, or someone does a video about it, and you go, oh, there, I see it. Hence, unless your brand is sending those people, i.e. pandering, sending those people review stuff, sending them press releases, inviting them on trips, the great unwashed sitting on the outside probably don't even know this watch exists.
Yeah, I mean that's not just a watch thing. That's like cars. People do that, don't they? Car companies used to do that. They would.
I think so, but then I think because a car is fundamentally still has a utility. When it comes time to say I'm going to buy a new car, you will do research and even look at brands you might not normally look at. I don't think that's how watches work. With watches, what you do is you probably start with the brand and then pick the watch from that brand you want.
Yeah. I was watching a great, it's sort of off a tangent, a great YouTube video. I think it was about the Cybertruck and how it's actually sold less than the Etzel did, which was, or the DeLorean. Yeah. And he was saying that the car journalism now, if you're just reviewing like cars that are accessible, so like Toyotas and stuff like that, it must be quite hard because pretty much they all drive the same. Like they're essentially all the same car. Like Kia, the mid-range cars are essentially all the same.
Yeah.
So it must be quite hard. And he was saying about that Cybertruck was good because it went for individualism, but most car companies don't. I guess the same with watch companies. Most car companies don't really take a punt on doing something totally unique.
Yeah, probably because 9 times out of 10, take that sort of mid-range SUV style. I think part of it is because they've all kind of congregated and like dive watches.
Yes.
Most dive watches all kind of look the same because they've all kind of congregated around that idea that, frankly, works. When you really drive yourself to do something different, like the Cybertruck, you end up creating something, great, it's different. It's pointless and useless and doesn't work. But yes, congratulations, you created a point of difference.
Yeah, the body panels fall off. Well done. That's different, certainly.
Yeah, it blinds other drivers. But I think one of the issues that you run into, particularly with things like cars, which are fundamentally utilitarian, is the idea that this just works. It does kind of drive everyone to look the same.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to, because they say that about movies, don't they? Now that they're sort of, many companies are stuck in this like sequel loop, especially Disney or Pixar and other brands. Like they'll know if they knock out a sequel that it's sort of got a predefined audience in there. So I wonder whether this is just like cyclical, where suddenly like people will just get bored of everything being the same, or whether people just don't care.
Yeah, I think it is. There are differences in sort of what's useful, things that are useful, like cars, phones, cameras, which are fundamentally, they have a purpose and they have to achieve that purpose, versus things which are more decorative and luxury. So, and a watch, there is a demographic of people that buy dive watches that like to pretend that their dive watch is a tool. And so because
I'm probably guilty of that.
because they're in the cosplay, they want to follow the cosplay. They're role playing, so they want to keep the role play going even through the watch purchase. But beyond that, I mean, an MB&F is as good a watch, from a functional point of view. A completely blacked out Vanta Black Moser is as good a watch as any other watch, even though you can't read it, because that's not the function of a watch.
Yeah, it's interesting you said about mobile phones, isn't it? Because we've all coalesced into the iPhone shape, haven't we, or the Samsung shape? Whereas, like late 90s and early 2000s, I mean, especially in the UK, Nokia was knocking out crazy phones. There was one that was like I remember, like a lipstick. There was like ones that were side on, the flip phones. I think those were really. Casio would do crazy stuff at that time.
Yeah, I think as soon as we decided the point of a phone was no longer to be a phone, but was to be a screen, it now just becomes how big can I make the screen?
And let's face it, iPhones have never actually been very good phones. It's the wrong shape.
Oh, for the side of your face, yeah. Yeah, because the only time you ever saw like Nokia have like a ubiquitous phone was the one that I used to call the salesperson's phone. It was like a silver, it was like a goldy color, and most cars would have the mount for it. It was like a tall phone. You would see most salespeople had the same Nokia phone. But that
Nokia. Nokia aficionados, they're like Rolex people. They remember the reference numbers. There was one shape that was, I think if you went back to a particular time and asked like a 12-year-old to draw a mobile phone, they would have drawn this Nokia. I can't remember what number it is.
Yeah, the 51
something like that.
Was with the removable cover. I remember, and then I think it was the 32 something where it was the first, and they got rid of the aerial. And I remember my mate, like, oh my god, like where's the aerial? And then, of course, the Matrix came out with the banana phone, and then Nokia had to make the actual phone, even though the one they used didn't have the flip down thing. It was quite an exciting time, I suppose. That perhaps this generations born after 2000s probably don't really appreciate that. Like when a new computer came out and it was significantly better than the one that you had. Like you don't buy a laptop now, and it's like 10 times the speed or whatever of the previous one.
Yeah, one of the issues that we certainly had back then was what I would say is the difference in speed made a difference. Whereas one of the things I find now is I buy a new laptop and it's almost like the software guys have used up all my extra capacity with some bloat they've thrown in. So I don't actually seem to get anything from these newer specs. I just, I have better specs, but my system is no more stable. It is no faster. I don't understand what I'm getting with all of this.
Yeah.
But
I was watching something the other day, like going back to I'm going off a tangent on vintage computers, but showing how like this thing's called Full Circle. But there's a YouTuber, and his whole channel was about retro gaming, but he's become so big now. People like in retro gaming that he's got together other YouTubers, and they've bought Commodore, the company.
okay.
They bought Commodore, the branding, like one of the headquarter offices and stuff like that, and they're going to start making the Commodore 64 or variants of the Commodore 64.
I loved my Commodore Amiga. I loved that.
So it's kind of like funny how it's come full circle, where like the newer technology and everyone's looking back, and now somebody's actually bringing one of those classic brands up to.
You were talking about watch spotting. I'm seeing a lot more watches at work, and this is something I'll be honest. It's something I kind of predicted was going to happen, and it has happened.
Well, you've got special circumstances for that, I think.
Yeah, but I also kind of notice it happening in other places as well. So we now have now with increasing security concerns, we have like half my building is now no phone. And there is nothing secret that happens where I work. I work in headquarters training command. So no one who, and one of the things that I work on at work is the heritage aircraft airworthiness. So no one's breaking into our system to try and find out what problems we're having with the Spitfire engine. But despite that, the whole one end of my building is like a zone 3 no ped area. So that means no phones, no smartwatches, no Bluetooth headsets, nothing like that. So there's been this explosion in watch wearing. And yeah, there's some really interesting watches turning up.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot more. Like I was at this show, and it was, it's not a watch show. It was a trucking show, and I noticed a lot more people wearing like nice watches. And I think, and I have people at work who have worn smartwatches for a long time. I think they're now looking at it thinking, oh, quite like to wear a watch, but now everybody's got the same Apple Watch. I would like to try something different, but I guess it's hard if you get into all the fitness stuff on your smartwatch if you're wearing it daily. But
yeah, well, I just wear both. So
yeah,
there you go. The Fitbit's currently being charged, but I'd wear that on
yeah, because I've got my Garmin somewhere. But those Womp bands or something they're called. Thomas, thank you very much for gifting 20 memberships. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so getting very word geeky and pedant like. The word smartwatch is now an independent word. It is no longer the correct writing of the word, because this came up in something we had to do at work the other day.
It's together.
It is together. It is a single noun now, smartwatch. So now smartwatch is officially not a watch. It's a smartwatch. It's a different noun. It's a different category of object.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose this going back to just to I've got this. This is this Casio watch, and this is the first ever mechanical they've ever made. Like they've ever made. This is the first they've ever made, which is wild, isn't it? It's a company as old as Casio, and this year, 2025, they've made the first mechanical.
It'd be something like Sonos bringing out like a vinyl LP player.
Yeah. Oh, don't get started on Sonos. Sonos to me is over engineered to the point of like, if once one thing goes wrong, they all disconnect, and you're like, oh my god.
I've never used one. I just see them and go, why would I spend that much?
Oh, their software is, in my own opinion, horrendous.
Glenn, what would be the technical term for this? Shite. Oh, look.
Yeah.
We talk about that at work a lot. We walk over, you look at some I'll get all metallic geeky for Mark here. We look at some horrendous exfoliation, corrosion happening on the lower skin of an aircraft, and the technical term is buggered. That is just nah.
Yeah, I've seen components buggered like that, and sometimes they're really hard to fix.
Oh yeah, we've had one recently where we just said screw it, just build a new one.
Yeah, we're
too hard.
We're dealing with a pressure vessel issue that's got a crack in it.
Yep.
But it's relatively low pressure. It's 9,000 psi. It's just like that's going to be a bugger to weld.
Yeah. You can't just scab patch that one.
Not anymore. No, we've got to fix it now.
Don't want to take that to the Titanic. Yeah, well, that's been a. I mean, I don't know if we did. We
did 35. We did 35 minutes of watch content, so that's not bad.
Not bad, yeah. And then we went off onto a tangent about retro gaming or retro technology.
In our defence, I think we did it the right way round. I can't listen to I think there's a number of podcasts where they descend into what we just did, which is just chatting, and that's fine. Except they start that way, and so it's like 20 minutes of listening to people talk about sneakers before they mention a watch, and I can't get there. I can't get to the end. So I think you've got to start strong and then tail off and hope that people just keep listening out of habit.
Yeah, and then I like how Scottish Watches do it because they filter in like they'll do like a bit about film and stuff like that, but they keep it tight. They don't.
Yeah.
So.
Or the other thing that puts me off watch podcasts is the first 5 minutes is Rolex, because I'm only getting through 2 minutes of that before I'm done. The rest of the podcast could be perfect, but it's 2 minutes of Rolex, I'm done.
That is...
it doesn't happen as often anymore as it used to.
That is one of the... I'll be blunt. That is one of the reasons I've sort of zoned out of a lot of content lately, that I'm just over hearing about the same brands over and over again. I've kind of just... Yeah, I'm over it. I don't need, if I hear one more person talk about yet another color variation on a Black Bay, I will just lose it. I just can't listen to Tudor talk anymore because there's nothing happening in that brand. But they'll invite, coming back to my idea of enthusiast brands are those that pander to the watch media. Tudor will invite everyone to fly to their new factory for the opening of an envelope, and it will get covered. So I'm just over it.
Yeah, I still like Tudor as a brand, but the one that for me was exactly what you're talking about was that when they did the whole thing with the Tudor Ranger, and everyone thought this amazing watch was coming out. Like they were teasing it, did like a whole press thing and stuff like that, and then it came out and it's like, oh, okay, that was.
The response was stunning indifference at that point, wasn't it? Absolutely stunning indifference.
Yeah. It was funny though, because I was listening to a podcast, the Worn and Wound podcast, and that guy, one of the guys there, was saying, like I went to an AD, I was dragged along, was looking at was a Breitling AD, I was dragged along. I saw this top time. I didn't even know it had been put out. I reached out to Breitling, asked if they could send me a sample. Breitling said, okay. And so they, and I think he was saying it's the first Breitling that's ever actually turned up at the Worn and Wound place for a review. Yeah. And it's as though they're discovering the brand.
You're getting called to the mat here. Pete Jared says nobody's doing more than Tudor and Breitling right now. This is a wild take, Pete. They're the only ones.
Yeah, I suppose it is true. Tudor is finding new and interesting materials to make sub homages out of. They're trying to see, just maybe they're coming up with a new number. Like we're going to have Google plus something for the number of Black Bay iterations.
Oh yeah, the Black Bay 58, 54, 60. There's a 55.
I think they should just have the. I think they're going to have the Black Bay Pi soon, because at least that has enough digits in it to like mark a difference to something else.
Yeah, I would have that Pelagos Ultra. I want to see that Pelagos Ultra, but anyway, that's the whole separate thing. So there you go. I admit it. That was funny. Wrong, but funny. Awesome. Well, that was a really well. There we go. Summer watches, colourful. Colourful ones,
and probably dive watches on a strap.
Yes, dive watches on a strap, or a bracelet if you want to class it up,
or a ceramic Hublot.
Yeah. Or a ceramic Hublot.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and big thanks to the panel. And we'll see you next week on Casual Watch Talk. Bye.